Hello! Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For this week's read, I'm using the Thelema Tarot. Thelema Tarot by Renata Lechner. Where is that? There's that. Hopefully you can see it. The website is at the bottom here. I think it's Los Garibos. Feel free to freeze frame on that if you want that information. Supportive Oracle cards. Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Illustrated by Jesse Reish. And then there's the website at the bottom. I want to say this one's a Hay House one. I don't remember. Is it Hay House? Yep, hayhouse.com. There at the bottom if you're interested. Hopefully that's focusing. Now that I think of it. And for the dice I'm using, the dice shop, and you go to, I think it's Math Art Fun. Hopefully you can see that too. mathartfun.com. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana. I substitute 22 for 0 for the Fool. I use a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and then I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element that matches up with the minor arcana. Anything else? No. Alright, so if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for tuning in, and let's get on to your reading. Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. I don't know if it's me. No, okay. I thought it was like really dark, but I think I had the camera set up wrong. Okay, Virgo. These readings are valid for when you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Virgo? Slap, slap. These are good. Okay, these are like, you got the 7 of Cups showing up right off the bat. That's not the normal Virgo energy that I'm used to. So, for some reason, you might be allowing yourself to dream or consider options. At the very least, you could be considering options that you normally wouldn't allow yourself to consider, which is not a bad thing. Considering is one thing, doing is another, right? So, it doesn't mean you're going to do anything. Do we have to do all? Do we have to do the whole deck? What's going on? I started noticing I'm like putting out the whole deck. I'm like, let's slow down here. I'll be here for 5 days. Okay, we got some good cards coming in. Where we're going is a question. Okay. You're allowing yourself to either consider options or dream, one of the two. And if it's consider options, it's options you normally would not let yourself consider. There's a good reason for this. You're in a position to do so. Well, you're not only in a position to do so, whatever that means. One of the reasons you might be doing this, though, is because you got the 10 of Swords. There might be a very strong disappointment. It doesn't have to mean that things are actually bad, but it might be it might be just seeing things for what they are more than things being bad. It seems like we're splitting hairs. So it might not be that something really bad currently happened. It may just be that, like, I'm seeing it. It's kind of like, yeah, it's been there, and now I'm really seeing it. It's kind of like when the car hasn't been working right for maybe months, and you finally get the right person to look at it, and they're like, yeah, this car, you do better to get another car than to try to fix it. It's kind of like one of those things, like, you could try to fix it, but by the time you're done, you're going to wish you just bought another car. It's kind of like, it might be one of those things, if you follow me. Or it could be something where you've had somebody in your life for quite a while, and you know that they weren't the best, but you didn't think they were that bad, and then something shows up, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, now I see it. They've always been there, they've always been like that. I just had a hard time seeing them for what the truth was. Could be one of those things. Take it with a grain of salt. There's something here that, like, I don't like it, and, like, I'm addressing it now, and I'm like, I've done a lot of work with it. I've tried to fix it. I've tried to do different things with it, and I'm like, it is what it is. And I'm seeing it for what it really is at this point, and I've tried every other option to salvage it. So it's kind of like I'm at that, I want to say precipice. I'm at that point to where I got to make a decision. And the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like flitting back and forth here. The place it's flitting back and forth is kind of like, am I going to try to get myself to believe in this situation, and I know it's not a good idea. So I think the car analogy is the easier one to go with. Am I going to try to get myself to keep this car on life support and try to get a few more miles out of it? Or am I going to kind of look at it like, I could try that, but it could also leave me, stranded on the side of the road. I don't really want that either. And Virgo's energy is more like, you know what, I'm not into like gambling with like I could get stuck on the side of the road energy. I need to deal with this wheel. I need to get rid of this wheel of fortune energy. I need to kind of like put that and ground it and like just let's stop the wheel from turning, see where it ends up, and just make decisions accordingly from where it ended up. I don't want to keep this wheel turning. I don't want to keep turning it back and forth to see how much farther I'm going to get. This next turn of the wheel is the last turn of the wheel. I need to kind of make that decision and just like make the right decision in the sense of like, I don't want to deal with this Wheel of Fortune energy anymore. There is this kind of like air of Wheel of Fortune going on here. It's the Wheel of the Year. No, it's the wheel. I call it the Wheel of Fortune. I think it's normally called the Wheel of Fortune, but I keep thinking of the game show, The Wheel of Fortune, if you're familiar with that. Which it's an American game show. I think it was more popular in the 70s and 80s, but I could be wrong. I feel like you're not going to play this game anymore. You don't want to play this game anymore. Do you? It's also at the same time like, do you want to keep the car? Probably, but even more, you don't want to play this game anymore. So it's kind of like, I don't like that I have to make this decision. I need to make this decision. So as you're doing that, this is where you're allowing yourself to consider options, and you're allowing yourself to consider things that you normally wouldn't due to what's happening. You might even be looking at this like, well, we're going to use the car analogy still. When I got this car, I thought it would last a lot longer than it did. And I'm also kind of like acknowledging like there's certain things I'm just not going to be able to prepare for. I made a good decision. This type of car has lasted a lot longer for other people. It just didn't turn out that way for me. Something happened. Maybe there was maybe I had an accident, or maybe there was some damage to the car that I wasn't expecting that created a lot of differences, stuff like that. So I'm trying to think of like looking back, what did I have control over versus what didn't I have control over, and I'm letting myself consider options based on that. Like, you can plan as well as you can, but still life is going to do what it's going to do. So based on that, maybe I should allow myself a little bit broader of a scope here for options going forward. And you seem to be kind of in a good place with this. And I say kind of like, again, I don't see you liking that you have to make this decision, but you're also kind of like, if I'm going to make this decision, maybe I'll get myself a little bit of luxury with this. Kind of like I'll get myself a different car. Maybe I can afford a little bit of extra luxury. Maybe this time around I'll do that for myself. Could be a sound system. Maybe it's the way it drives. Maybe it's a bigger vehicle to where I feel safer, whatever it may be. So you're going towards that, whatever this is. I'm trying not to use this one analogy, but I do keep hearing it. Well, in my head, I'm not like clairaudient hearing that one, even though I am clairaudient at times. But I'm getting it more, intuition-wise, just to be fair. It could be a romance thing or a friendship thing to where somebody has done something unacceptable, and you have decided that I'm going to have to remove this person from my life in one respect or another. And if I'm going to let something else return or something else come in to replace that energy, maybe I'm like allowing myself options I wouldn't normally allow, something like that. For some reason I'm really like kind of like sketchy and like if I should really bring that forward, only in the sense of like I feel like it could be a very charged situation if that's happening. But if that's happening, I don't think that's a surprise at this point. If you're coming into this reading, you either know that that's what it is or that's totally not. If you're just kind of like, well, I wonder if it is, it's not. So as you're moving forward, you're making your decision. I feel like you're allowing yourself a little bit of luxury that you normally wouldn't, or you're allowing yourself a little bit of leeway that you normally wouldn't. The Two of Wands for you, for Virgo, is kind of like, I don't think it's just like a random, I'll just let this happen thing. I think it's kind of like, I've wanted this, I'm randomly letting myself have it, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I've always wanted this certain type of sound system, or I've always wanted this certain type of car, and I'm finding one in my price range. I'm letting myself have it. That's like the random part of it. With the Two of Wands over here, it's random that I'm allowing myself to do it. I hope that makes sense. Because I don't feel like this is totally coming out of the blue. Like, there's a possibility here I wouldn't normally let myself have it, and I've never thought of it before, but I'll let it happen. It's not like that. It's kind of like you've let yourself think of it in the past, but you probably told yourself it wasn't for you. But you're letting yourself have a luxury that you normally wouldn't, is what I'm getting from that. And as you move forward, this is a strong, like, once I step forward in that, I'm allowing myself to have it. I'm allowing myself to do it. I'm like, for example, if it's a car, I'm signing the dotted line, it's mine, I'm going to make it happen. And I feel like at first it's kind of like, at first it's almost like, now I get that weird feeling like I have to like now back up this decision. They're saying don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You don't have to back up or validate your decision. You wanted it. You will have to have some earth energy with it. You're an earth sign. That's cool. But they're saying as you move forward, it's kind of like instead of like trying to validate it to other people or trying to validate your past decision, validate your future decision. It's kind of like look forward, not backward with this. I hope I can say this right. Because I keep getting like, you're going to have this need to prove to other people or prove to yourself that was an okay decision or that you were allowed to make it. Try not to do that. Try not to do the backwards thing. Going forward, as you keep making decisions with this car, make the most out of it. You know what I mean? If it's a car, and maybe you're like, I want to validate this was a good decision, maybe start a carpool up where you pick up other people on the way to work, and maybe they give you like $10-15 for gas once or twice a week, or whatever makes sense nowadays. Whatever makes sense, you know what I mean? So maybe you pick up 2 people, and at the end of the week they each give you like $15-20 towards gas. So like you're validating it that way. Does that make sense? Don't look backwards. Validate it forwards, not backwards. Don't keep going, well, this was a good decision because, this was a good decision because, and I have this and I have that. Go forward with it. Like, oh, look, I'm making sure that like this is a bigger vehicle. I'm either carpooling or maybe like, I'm helping other people in the family or friends like when they need to go shopping. We're shopping together and I'm the one who's like doing that. So like I'm making use of this space. I feel like I'm muddling it up. Hopefully it made sense to the people it needs to make sense for. It's like enjoy it going forward. Don't validate it backwards, validate it forwards if you need, because I feel like you're going to need to do that for yourself. Validate it going forwards, not going backwards. So I hope that makes sense. There's more coming with this decision. You're going to realize that this was a really good decision. It's going to go in your favor in ways you were not expecting. That's not a bad thing, clearly. But there's random energy here. Other people are going to ask you for things. Whatever this decision is, other people are going to realize that you have some type of benefit, and they're going to kind of come towards you. You're going to like this, is what I'm getting. Even though it's random, it is also validating it going forward, this decision you made. I keep using the car analogy, but it's almost like I'm seeing this in the environment. This isn't always bad for Virgo because it's another earth energy. It doesn't have to mean you're dealing with Capricorn. Can talk about a Capricorn energy, though. Virgo is compatible with Capricorn. It's almost like somebody's realizing you made this decision, and they're also like, well, since you can do that, Virgo, how about you do this for me? It seems to work very well. This is an energy, as long as it feels honored, it does seem to reciprocate within reason. Again, this is an energy that goes along with Virgo in a positive way. They expect things a certain way. Virgo seems to mesh with that without a problem. There should be compensation coming back. There also should be, if you're going to have this energy come towards you, agreement of terms before you actually do whatever they want you to do. It should honor that. As long as things play out as expected, they should honor the terms. Again, I feel like this is going to go your way. I know that people are afraid of the Devil card, but I don't always see it as a bad thing. In this reading, I'm seeing it as a compatible, strict, strict and very defined, but Virgo can roll with that. So I feel like that'll go your way. It does seem random, though. That's not really a random energy usually, but this is. So they may have plans for you that they kind of spring on you. Just make sure your terms are agreed upon before you help them. Just be careful with that. Again, that's not a bad energy for you. But then again, you know how to roll with it. So you know how to kind of jive with it. Not everybody would have an easy time. In fact, a lot of people would struggle. You may not. Keep in mind, as long as you set the terms ahead of time with whatever this decision is, and you have these people coming at you afterwards, as long as you set those terms ahead of time, it's very, very important, ahead of time. Decide on what you want before you help. Before. And you deserve to get your fair share out of it. Make that agreement before. Also, whatever you agree before is what you're going to get. You're not going to be able to negotiate it afterwards. Keep that in mind either, because it will go negatively. Because if they feel trapped, like, okay, I said I would, so I will, it'll go your way. They're also going to try to think of other things they can connect you with. Always decide your terms ahead of time. Before you help, decide your terms to what you're willing to agree to. There's another sign. There's another Earth sign coming in here, which is interesting. It doesn't have to be a Taurus you're dealing with, but this talks about Taurus, another Earth energy. The Four of Swords, a healing energy with that. Victory coming in. This decision you're making originally shows up like it's giving yourself a luxury that you normally wouldn't allow. That is paying off for you over and over and over again. I know that Virgo won't make this a way of life. Usually you won't anyway. But this time it is paying off in your benefit. So there's a lot of victory, a lot of good things. I feel like what they're saying with this, even though this isn't really something you're going to allow to become a habit in your life, I feel like what they're saying is like, look back at what you allowed yourself and realize that you can allow yourself some more pleasure than maybe you are. And maybe it's not a habit for Virgo to be more, I don't know, I feel like it's just whatever this is, you're not normally allowing it. But like they're saying within reason, maybe you can go closer to this than you normally would. How do I explain this part? Because it's kind of like maybe you've been shortchanging yourself for years. Maybe you haven't been allowing yourself to have the enjoyment that you can. Maybe you've been helping other people too much. And they're saying, all right, maybe you're not going to make this a habit, but maybe allow yourself to at least consider it more often than you have. And maybe it's not going to be something you do every month or every week, but maybe once or twice a year, let yourself have a little something more than you normally would. More than you normally would. Do you follow me on that? Hopefully that makes sense. Because I feel like whatever this is, you're allowing yourself more than you would. It is paying off and it's giving you a lot of victory. Again, you're not going to make this a weekly or even a monthly habit. I keep getting that because I feel like whatever this is, you're very regimented with whatever it is. But maybe once or twice a year, allow this to happen. Allow yourself to have the little extra. See what that does for your life. Allow yourself at least once or twice a year. So, all right, I think we're there. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email. jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.